All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us again. This is, I believe, the fourth version of this, the fourth episode of the Business Security Leaders Roundtable. HL Flake has been promoting this and helping us to host this. My name is Chad Lingefelt. I'm with Lockdock Security in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we are excited to be joined with a wonderful gang of folks today just to kind of talk about business in the world of security. And we started this out of a little bit of kind of craziness that has been happening with the crisis around the United States and the world right now with the COVID-19 and coronavirus, and how it started to impact business with stay-home orders. And so we've just been talking through how that's been affecting us, and then ways that business leaders and owners are looking to adapt, to pivot, to make adjustments, and then start to look for how this is going to happen once we start to see things kind of start changing and what the new normal is going to be. And so that's been our kind of topic of conversation over the past couple of weeks, and have had a lot of great feedback from folks all across the country. So one of the really cool factors of this is that we have different perspectives from different areas of the country. So as a way of getting started, we'll kind of do introductions around the windows here. And so we'll see where everybody's from and what they've been up to. So we'll start over in the top left-hand corner. John, go ahead and give us a little bit of introduction as to who you are, name of your company, and kind of where you're located.
Sure. John Purdue, Security Lock and Key, located in Roanoke, Virginia, the southwest portion of Virginia. Anything else?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, man, that's very, very, very good. We appreciate you joining us. John, how long have you been in the security industry?
So I am 41, and so I've been in the security industry for 41 years. My parents founded the company, and so I've literally been around it my entire life, but actually been in the business. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I believe somewhere around 26 years.
So we're right. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us. I know John for a long time, stand-up business there in Richmond, Virginia, and really glad to have you as part of the conversation today. We'll go down in the bottom left-hand corner. Jason, give us a little bit of introduction, who you are and name of your company.
Hey guys, my name is Jason Janave. I own the Lock Guys. We're in Dalton, Georgia, and I've been in the business now for about 20 years now. Actually, a little over 20, about 21 years now.
All righty. So down in Virginia, what area?
No.
I'm sorry,
we're
Georgia.
We're in Dalton, Georgia. Yeah.
Georgia. Dalton. Where about is that?
We're just south of Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're right on the Tennessee Georgia state line here.
Oh, perfect. All right, cool. So we're all kind of in the southeast here. Our next person on the panel today is Bill Peters. Bill, give us a little bit of introduction and how you're doing.
I'm Bill Peters, FM George Safe and Lock Company. We're in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've been a locksmith for about 36, 37 years. Our company's been around since about 1911.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate it. We've got a great lineup of folks on the conversation today. So we've been talking a lot on this roundtable discussion about kind of how this has been impacting or affecting your business. So I want to just kind of toss that out as question number one. John, how are things in Virginia? How has this been affecting your business, if there has been any impact on it, and how have you guys adapted?
So it has slowed down some. Definitely with the need out there.
I think that might be Jason. Jason,
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I might get you to mute your mic there.
Let's see. What's the best way to mute this thing? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Appreciate that. It's live, right, Bill? Go ahead, John.
That's all right. So yeah, we've definitely seen some drop off in, I would say, in need of customers. So our work has slowed down some, but we've been blessed to be able to keep clinicians busy. We've had some pretty standard jobs that on a mill job, so we've been doing when I say job service work.
Hey, John, hold on just a second. I'm going to see if we can get this thing squared away. Might have to.
It's probably me. I'm not real sure how to mute, just to be honest with you.
Yeah, we got you right here, man. We got you. There you go. Perfect. Sorry about that. Go ahead, John. You've been blessed to continue to stay in business, and you haven't dropped anybody.
Yeah, we've been very blessed in the sense that we've been able to keep our team together. That has been our number one focus. Just keep everyone together. Be able to continue to provide for as many of our team and their families as possible for as long as we can. So really looking at, okay, how do we scale things in as far as hours, or really cut expenses? Expenses come from a lot of different areas in business, and just what can we absolutely what can we do without right now? And so we've been working hard to do that, to be able to keep a positive cash flow, and just continue to be a blessing to our customers and to our team and their families. So.
John, just to give context for those that may be watching, and obviously we've got a wide range of audience. Your business is how is it kind of structured? Commercial, residential, automotive? What is your primary avenue that you generate business?
Sure. So we are about 85% commercial. We are close to a 50-50 split between between electronic and mechanical security. So and when you look at that, that's kind of how our team is split as far as technicians, sales folks, things like that. So that's kind of the area that we cover, and primary market is around a 2-hour radius around Roanoke.
Have you guys seen any difference on the electronics versus the mechanical side of your business with this? Has it been the same across the board?
Yeah, as far as I've been able to tell, it's been pretty consistent with both. I kind of just watching what technicians are in the shop when, and things like that. It's not so much paying attention to each and every dispatch that's created, but it's seemed to be pretty consistent. There may be a day that we're heavier on mechanical versus electronic, but no, it's stayed pretty steady, pretty consistent.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Bill, I want to kind of jump to you next. How are things in the Knoxville area? Have you seen a slowdown? How has that been impacting your business? And kind of the same thing as John, how's the business structured for you? Is it commercial versus residential versus automotive? How is that kind of lined up for you?
Pretty much all the normal, call-in work that has slowed down quite a bit. We're up in residential. We don't really do a lot of residential, but we're doing a lot of residential right now. Government work has slowed down. School works, we do schools for quite a few different counties. Some of the schools let us work there while the schools are closed since there's nobody there. And some don't let us on the properties. Walk-in traffic has slowed down quite a bit. Other than that, we are busy. It's bad, when people are laying off and closing, we're busy, and when they're hiring and opening businesses up, we're busy. And that's the bad part about being a locksmith, I guess. You see the good and the bad in both sides of the field. Access versus mechanical. Our mechanical is pretty much solid. Our access is pretty much closed up because most of the business that you are doing access on are not open for business right now. So they've got those folks are closed, and those jobs are on hold right now.
There you go. Yeah, it's been interesting, I would say, with across the board, you've got businesses or you have projects maybe that you're doing that have been ongoing for a while, and like you said, some government work is slowed down, some of your school work, some of the school systems will let you on, some won't, and it's just trying to kind of figure that out and navigate that, but primarily commercial for you guys, and you're adapting. You said you're picking up some more residential work or doing more residential work currently. But you said otherwise you've stayed fairly busy throughout the process.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Jason, kind of give us a little assessment there, how you guys structured commercial versus residential. And while we're doing that, we'll ask the folks that are watching live right now, just drop in the chat kind of where you're watching from, what area of the country or the world that you're watching from, just so we can kind of get an idea of who's in the audience for us. But Jason, go ahead and give us an idea of how things are going there and how your business is set up.
Well, we've pretty much slowed down just like everybody else has. We were slow for about the first couple weeks of this situation. We've actually started picking up. Our biggest issue that we've had has not really been so much as customers, it's been as our employees, and what the government's done with the COVID-19 laws and not really allowing us to enforce guys to come to work. That's been the biggest issue. The other biggest issue has been in some spots, some of our newer guys can make more on unemployment than they can actually on the road right now with the work that's out there. So that's been another big problem that we've dealt with. So we are lucky now that we kind of have more work than what we can handle. It's only because we have less employees than normal. So I think we kind of have a false positive going on right now.
Gotcha. So you've had some folks that have decided or opted to not come into work because of, I guess, not wanting to be in the public?
Well, that's what they're saying. But the reality is that unemployment, the government's paying more money for them to sit home and do nothing than them to actually go out there and work. So
gotcha.
That's been our biggest struggle. We also have the same struggles everybody else does with the amount of work. If we had all the guys here, we would have enough work for everybody, but the problem would still be that they can probably make just as much money sitting at home.
Gotcha. Understood. Yeah, that's that was on, I think, one of the first. You could go back and check out the other roundtables that we've done. I think that one of the first episodes that we did, I believe it was Sean from California, was having that conversation about the fact that that could be a struggle as we all move forward with the employment. So definitely appreciate you kind of filling us in on that. So I'm looking at the chat here. It looks like we've got folks from Canada, from California. We've got New York, Arizona. Obviously here Charlotte. You've got Suffolk County, Portland, Oregon. All over the place. So it's pretty cool, folks joining from all across the country and even into Canada. So we appreciate that. So while we're having this conversation, obviously we ask you to share this out. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, share it out so other people can see it as well, and that'll be awesome. Hopefully, some beneficial information for them as well. John, as you're preparing for, we all know that the states are going to start opening up soon, and we're going to start kind of seeing that resurgence of work come back in. What is the current state in Virginia, or the current situation in Virginia? Are they looking at reducing or releasing some of those restrictions soon, or what's the current status there?
As far as I've heard, it is kind of still up in the air. So we had it appeared that we may have some restrictions lifted somewhere around May, but now I believe it was published or posted or whatever from UVA, and so I've heard things all the way out to August. So we're still kind of up in the air on that as far as restrictions being lifted on non-essential businesses and workers.
What will you kind of look for to know when things are kind of returning back to what they were before this started? What are, outside of just revenue, what are the kind of things that you guys are going to be watching for, just so that other people may have an eyeball on what they can be paying attention to as well?
Yeah. So if I just look right over this laptop, I can look right out at one of the busiest intersections in Southwest Virginia. So traffic. It's a pretty good indicator. We're kind of right across from a mall, and so we're you know we can look and see traffic picking up, things like that. The phone ringing has not really been, which reminds me, I probably need to mute this phone behind me in case it does ring. But the phone ringing it hasn't cut way down, but that really our sales folks being able to set up appointments and actually go do sales calls, and people kind of allowing that interaction to take place, or you know, I guess the government allowing that interaction to take place with some businesses.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things, I just look at it. If I can drive to work every morning and hardly get stopped by a traffic light, or I'm not stopped in a traffic jam,
Yeah.
maybe the same for you, then I'm like, hey, things are picking back up. People are getting back out, and that would be a good indicator.
No, it's funny. So we're our office is right off of a main interstate here through Charlotte, I-77, and I can look out the window just the same. And that's been a clear indicator for us is how much traffic are you dealing with on the roads, and it is almost an exact demand for the calls and service requests that we have. So it's definitely interesting. Jason, what are things that you guys are looking at and paying attention to kind of know the ebb and flow of business and how that will change?
Well, I believe they're actually lifting all the restrictions as of I believe it's either tomorrow or Monday. They're still not allowing certain businesses to work. We've always been essential, so we're okay. But the businesses that we do business with was kind of what slowed us down. So I believe Georgia may be one of the first states they've actually lifted the stay-at-home order, as far as I know.
Yep.
How will it pick up? We don't really know. So we know a bunch of business owners that we talk to. They're not real convinced that this is the right time to come back. So that's another one of our fears, that even though they do lift this order, that maybe all of them are going to start back. Some of them are already saying that they're going to stay an extra 2 weeks and not operate. We really don't know. We kind of anticipate there might be a second wave of this. That's something I think everybody's got to be open to, is that they're calling for a second wave of this coming around, and this could go right back to where we are now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think South Carolina is another state that is supposed to be opening up very soon. I think if it's not by the end of this week, they had some stuff that started opening up, I believe, on Tuesday. But they did announce that the schools were going to be closed for the remainder of the school year. So very similar there. So what you're saying is a lot of your customers that you're already talking to, you're hearing that they may still, even though they have the opportunity or the option to open back up, they still may remain closed.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That's what they're saying. A lot of restaurants are saying that they may not open. I think a lot of them have this fear of not knowing if they do reopen, are we going to be shut back down again? I think that's what the fear is right now. Kind of like the housing market. You weren't real sure when everything's actually back to normal again. So I heard just yesterday that they're talking about the winter time, and back in November there being another wave in November.
Sure.
So I don't think this thing's over. It's going to be over anytime soon. I don't see any real it going back to 100% within the next couple months, even if it was open tomorrow.
Most definitely. Bill, what are some things that you guys are looking for to know how things are changing, and if things get back to anything previous to this, or how it will change your business going forward?
I think the walk-in traffic, we have a lot of walk-in traffic, and it is pretty slow now. It's probably down to 30, 40 people a day, and usually there's 2 or 3 times that. Highways, streets, they're all pretty much bare. Pretty much it's shut down. I mean, you get a lot of the younger people that just don't think real good, that are on the streets, running the roads, things like that. That's always going to be a problem for that. The virus coming and going, I think it's going to be around for a while. and I think people are just going to have to adapt to it. Hopefully, we get something that they can take for it and stuff. But business wise, right now we're only scheduling a couple of days out. Normally, we schedule up to a couple of weeks out. So when the scheduling starts getting heavier, then we'll know things are back in business.
There you go. So here's my next question for kind of everybody on the call is what are things that you've actively done or things that you've started to think about how to adapt your business model? Because, and this is kind of the conversation that I've had with lots of people all across the country, is one of the things that we do as locksmith, as service companies, is you go out and you service whatever it is. It's a house, it's a business, it's a car. And when that starts to become limited, how do you adapt or pivot? Do you just reduce your workforce? Do you find other opportunities or other things, other services that you can add? How do you adapt and pivot, or what are some things that you're thinking about as you get back to a little bit of normalcy? And what would you want to change in your organization to prevent a massive slowdown like this from happening again, if possible? I'll toss to John first, and then we'll kind of go around the table again.
Sure. So one thing that I guess with the slowdown, with the way that we have interacted, and Bill, you had talked about walk-in traffic. Our building is actually designed with a drive-through. This was originally a Photoshop, so you could drive up and drop your film off and pick it back up, and so. Yeah, we've been blessed to actually just remove a temporary wall and open that up, and so that's been a way that we could adapt to handle our I guess our walk-in traffic. So as far as adapting what we do, we have a pretty broad range of what we do between mechanical and electronic security, and so that is there still seems to be a pretty high demand for that. I think that as times get tough, people typically do not reduce their security level. They're pretty aware that that people are bored, and activities could take place that they would not want, and so it really comes to how our customers are able to invest in those needs more than their desire to invest in those needs. I think the desire is still there. It's just will they be able to invest in those needs? So I think as far as business structure, we were blessed for a long time to run. Full tilt. Our guys were putting in a lot of overtime. They were, that was a blessing to them. It was a blessing to their family, but it also kept them maybe away from home some nights instead of having dinner around the table with their family.
Yep.
And so at this point, with just trying to tighten the belt on some hours, trying to balance that those hours work versus the need. It hasn't been certainly been a reduction for them, but it's also allowed some work-life balance there, which I think is always a great thing. And certainly we're looking to always adapt to the needs. So hey, if the work picks back up, man, we had a plan to, we don't have a large team here, but we had a plan to hire 2 technicians this year. We're still, moving forward on bringing another one on board here next month. So, there's training involved. There's getting folks up and running. And I mean, we're looking to hopefully this thing picking, this slowing down and work picking back up, and us just being able to, again, provide for our team and their families. And that's great.
Now, John, I know you guys have some alarm type business as well. So you've got some recurring revenue. How do you think that is played into to your situation as compared to others that may not have had any type of a recurring model happening?
Yeah, so yeah, we are, and I know I keep going back to the word blessed, man, but we just are, and I'm thankful for that, and we are blessed to have that reoccurring revenue. And that certainly helps to sustain a positive cash flow. And so when we do have a little bit of a down swing, that helps to allow us to keep our folks here, training or whatever, just improving their skill sets, or possibly just picking up something new. So that's helpful. So that way, when that next job comes, I mean, hey, they're performing at a higher level for our customers, and possibly being able to perform that job just a little cleaner or a little quicker for our customer. And hey, that's great all the way around when that happens. Our if we can get in and out, our customers are happy with that, and we're not kind of in their hair and in their business.
Yep.
For a longer period of time. So yeah, that reoccurring revenue helps for things like that, for us to kind of look at that time spent here at work and go, okay, we're thankful to have that source of income. So hey, we can still spend some time, allocate some time to doing these things, and it's not putting us in a negative cash flow, so to speak.
Most definitely. Bill, I want to jump down to you and ask you kind of the same thing. Is there anything you're having to do to adapt, or anything you're thinking about to adapt? And then I want to have a conversation too, just to kind of toss that out for the next question is going to be talking about sales and marketing approach during this time. I want to kind of address that as well. But Bill, what are some things that you're seeing to adapt right now, or what are you thinking about?
Well, right now, since traffic has slowed down, having a company as old as ours, we're getting a lot cleaned up, a lot straightened up, and it's amazing what all is getting done around here. We've got 2 trucks slower, but that's not because of this. We are looking to hire a couple of people as soon as we can find somebody with some knowledge who wants to work. We would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, we're doing. I don't know. We've got jobs in probably 4 or 5 school systems right now, a couple of colleges, and our regular work. We have customers that are expanding, adding on, tons of building right now going on everywhere in the area. So business is there. It's just being able to get to it. Looking into a lot of different systems that we haven't used before. We're starting to look into systems. We're looking into systems for phones, and we use a lot of without naming brands and stuff, but some is network systems, some's cloud systems. We've got electronic, and we've got some access control systems that we're dealing with. So, as in the office, our walk-in traffic benefits do-it-yourself people, maintenance people, people that will take their hardware off, bring it in, want to get it worked on, and they go back and put it back on.
Yeah.
For their building maintenance for the businesses. We're within a mile from downtown, so we get a lot of walk-in business from maintenance folks and stuff like that. Residential. The residential stuff, there's a lot of hardware coming out there. There's a lot of hardware that mass merchants sell that we've had to do a lot of work to. So we're finding out which ones are the mass merchants hardware, which ones work good, which ones last, which ones can take a beating, things like that. Changing anything? more employees. I think that's our biggest problem is employees. The employees that we've got now, other than other than two, we've had for probably 10 years or better.
Oh, okay.
So we do treat everybody good and things like that, and we depend 100% with our employees. So we try to take care of them the best we can.
There you go. So taking on, so if I heard you correctly, you're one of the things that you're looking at to adapt, and maybe it was something you were already kind of working on, but it's starting to become more prevalent, is phone systems and applying that into part of your service offering.
Yes.
Awesome. Jason, what about you guys down there? Have you been looking at ways to adapt, maybe different services to offer? Any additional things that you're looking at doing, or is it kind of business as usual?
Well, it's pretty much business as usual for us. So we're also doing the same thing that these guys are doing. So we're pretty much in every spectrum of the business. So we've got pretty much everything covered. We're always trying to learn new things. But what the positive thing that we have done with this is it's allowed us to bring some employees in that we normally have, maybe that are automotive only, or maybe have very limited experience in commercial residential, and it's allowed us to move them over into some of these buildings that are vacant right now because they're non-essential businesses. Those businesses are allowing us to work and go in and put in door closers and access control and do all this stuff. So we're actually using this as an opportunity to train some of our guys who would never really have the time to actually go learn this stuff. So this is a very complex business. As everybody that does this knows, usually the guys specialize in one thing or another, at least their employees do. So we're trying to actually move them into different facets of the business where they can learn, again, how to do door closers, how to do electric strikes, mag locks. And we're able to go into these buildings and show these guys in more of a controlled environment, a little bit slower. We can kind of go through all the pieces, kind of teach them things. So we're using this thing for the guys who've been loyal to us, aren't sitting back on the couch trying to collect a check. We're using this opportunity to teach them so that when we do come back, these guys are going to be way more versatile than they are right now.
Very cool. So really using the time to do some cross training, and people that have been very, very strong in certain areas, now you're able to get them a little bit more flexibility to train and cross train while you have the time and capacity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a very smart move if you have the ability to do that. I know our team here has been doing a lot of training, and we've leaned on some manufacturers to help with some of the training, and especially in preparation for automatic door openers. We think that that's going to be something that's going to be a high demand in the future, and so we've taken a lot of effort and time in getting our guys better trained and knowledgeable on that. What are the offerings? What are the options? How to install it? How to do it in a very efficient manner? So just anything you can do to be cross-training or to be training in general to get better at what you can do so that you can be efficient. Because I think most anybody that you talk to is when things come back, because of everything that we've talked about, economics, the companies that have been able to stay in a positive cash flow, the companies that have been able to hire and maintain, it's going to change the landscape of the service industry in some areas. And so you're going to have some people that aren't going to be able to sustain that model that they've been doing for a couple of years, and so they may not be able to support the demand that's coming in when business comes back. So if you're not taking this time right now to get better and more knowledge and train, then you're probably passing up a really good option. I did want to talk about sales and marketing. I know John has a sales team. I'm not sure about Bill or Jason, so we can kind of talk through that. But what are efforts that you're doing proactively? I know we've all been limited in, obviously face-to-face interactions, but thinking outside the box. What are things that you're doing? What are things that you might look to try to do? And how has that messaging changed from the way that it was 2 months ago to where it is now in thinking on a marketing or a sales approach? So again, I guess it's just easy to go top left. So John, lucky you, go ahead.
Sure. So our sales approach, right now we know that, like I said, folks may have a need, but they just may not be in a cash flow position to meet those needs or to pay for them right now.
Sure.
So again, we're just trying to have conversations with folks and just understand their needs, understand what they would like to do. Also, as we kind of mentioned going around last time, just taking this opportunity to really train our sales folks on a lot of items that maybe in the past they just did not have the knowledge on. Everybody gets kind of in their lane when it comes to the products that they're comfortable with, the products that they're using, and so just trying to take the opportunity to not only train our technicians but train our sales team, and kind of get them, I guess, more up to speed on our core products that they're less familiar with, so they can just have a better solution for our customers when they are able to go out and actually do walkthroughs and things like that.
Very
So
cool. Yeah.
right now, using a lot of the phone, pictures, things like that.
Yeah.
Just trying to gather information that way. And yeah.
So I'm interested. One of the reasons that I'm interested in this is I was listening to a podcast the other day, and there was a gentleman talking about the fact, and it resonated with me because I've kind of had this conversation a lot in our industry, but I would venture to say, with the group of people that we have here, it's going to be very easy for us all to say that our companies have grown or sustained or are developed based off of referral and word of mouth reputation. That's something that we all have had in our businesses. And one of the things that was challenged in the conversation that I was listening to from on this podcast was, if that has been your major focus or your major demand for business has been by reputation or word of mouth, and you don't have a sales funnel, you don't have an email list, you don't have active sales and marketing, then you're going to struggle as this happens, because there's going to be a little bit of a recession that's going to happen outside of this. It's known. So if you don't have an active process already, then you've got to get started on it, and you're going to struggle a little with that. But that if you already have that, then you're going to be positioned a little better in the marketplace. And I'm interested to kind of hear thoughts on that, and if you agree with that, if you disagree with that, but an understanding of that kind of reputation marketing may start to suffer if that's the only way that you're marketing your business currently. Bill, what are your thoughts on that? And how are you handling sales and marketing in this time?
I agree. We don't have salespeople. We should. We've hired some younger folks that are going through and going to start our social media stuff up and do a lot of our advertising that way. We don't go out and actually hunt for business. We've got a lot of customers that we take care of. And with the volume that we've got, that's been our advertising right there. Knoxville's a big hub. It's got a lot of businesses, a lot of corporate offices, and they put our information in their databases. So we get calls from those places. Just doing quality material, quality service. We don't try to push stuff they don't need, and we give them options of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's helped us a lot. Do-it-yourselfers, a lot of them, they'll buy the hardware, but then they need somebody to install it because they've tried, couldn't get it installed. So that's where our residential business is going into. A lot of that, the rekeying, the high security locks, a lot of the access for businesses and things like that. New constructions nowadays, we're not into new construction. I don't know if we are going to try to get into it, but it's a whole different market, and they're putting more and more of the access and everything on these businesses before they ever open up. So we don't do the selling on the stuff. We end up doing the repair work and the additions.
Yeah. Very interesting. Jason, what are your thoughts on that, and how do you approach sales and marketing And there's also some questions in the chat about utilizing salespeople and account managers. So I want to answer that question and get some feedback on that as well. So Jason, what are your thoughts?
Well, as Bill touched on, we also believe in word of mouth. We believe word of mouth is obviously the best advertising you can get. We took a little bit of a unique approach during this particular pandemic, and decided, what can we do to go out and help others? So we'll help others in the community. We figured if we can use our business right now as something to help people in the community, that when this thing does come back, these people will remember. So we're kind of taking a unique approach. So one thing that we decided to do, we're big in social media. We have a huge social media presence. We always try to make sure that everybody's happy. If we get any dissatisfied customers, we address those issues immediately. We always have. But one thing that we took on that was a problem in this community was school lunches for kids that are around here that could not afford school lunches. Schools weren't out. Schools are using school buses to meet parents at bus stops, but that wasn't really enough for this community. Being that we're not a restaurant, we were right next door to a restaurant. We decided to put our own money in and just start paying for school lunches for kids that couldn't afford it. If they could just call us up, tell us how many kids they had, we would just pay the order for them. It's cost us a lot of money, but it's had a huge response. So we had about 194,000 views for a town that only has 48,000 people in it. So I think that we've been hit by some tornadoes. I believe it was last week or the week before. Four fairly large tornadoes came through, tore up the area. We've been sending out our guys to help out with some really cutting, using chainsaws, paying them to go cut trees and help these people out. So we're maybe not doing it as far as the locksmith business, but it's helped our image in this community,
Sure.
which I think in the long run will help us when this thing rebounds.
Most definitely. I think that's one of the best examples of pivoting is you have the resources, you've got the ability, and you know how to execute on it. So that's a pivot. That's adapting in the situation. I think and it's also helping out the community. I mean, that's definitely something to applaud and a unique way to handle that. So that's very, very cool. And it also is giving you a very unique connection with the community that you would never have. You know, there may be people that would have never really known of your business or needed to know about your business before, but now you have that kind of connection with them. So that's very awesome. So the question that's in the chat is from Brandon Wallace. He says, how do you utilize salespeople like account managers? They aren't actual technicians, ? I've been considering this route. So John, I know you said you had a sales team there, a sales staff, and so I wanted to kind of get your perspective on this. How do you utilize salespeople or account managers that aren't actual technicians?
Yeah, so we have three folks on our team who are not technicians. They are their sole purpose within the company is to either work through marketing or to work through sales leads and to go out, do site surveys, generate proposals for solutions for customers, and to just gather all that information, put it together in a usable packet, and present that to operations. And once that handoff has taken place, then they are kind of out of the picture, and operations takes it from there. So the other portion of that question, I guess, that's more the sales and marketing side of it, but the account management side of it, that's something that being in a second generation business owner of we have a lot of existing past business, those accounts that were just over the years of we're working for this customer, we're working for that customer, and they like how we function, we enjoy working for them, and just kind of build that business relationship, and so they become an account. It honestly, not until recently have we really looked at them as, oh, well, they are an account, and so we need to possibly, take this and treat it as through the lenses of account management versus just us going out. And so, and going out and responding to, their phone call or their email or whatever. So, so we're looking to build on those relationships and really help to serve those customers better. So in thinking through that, we are looking to ask them questions to kind of not pry, but really we notice that, hey, maybe they like their accounting done this way, or they like their the service call to be called in this way, or they like for it to be um, whatever, however they prefer things to take place. We know that because we've worked for them for so long, but it's nice to have it written down and then to maybe ask some more questions and go, hey, how could we better serve you this way? And so that, I, sad to say, I guess, but that's kind of new for us, to look at our our existing accounts through that account management approach. But we're excited to move forward with those relationships and kind of go down that path of thought there with them, and hopefully better serve them, and and just be great all the way around.
So really turning it into an account management where you're managing the accounts and trying to do a better job with that. I think it's interesting your approach on it. You take our industry a lot of times, and we have this conversation, and I feel like I have it a lot of times with people, but you have a practitioner, somebody that's really good at doing their job, and then they turn into a business leader or a manager or an owner, and a lot of that stuff stays in your head. And it's trying to get it out and get it to that team. And so utilizing people in a sales or account management role to be able to work with customers and to maintain those relationships that typically, in a sense, that either your technicians are doing or your business owners are doing, but now you're just replicating that and creating a different department or division. I know for our organization, we have a similar type setup where we have three what we call account managers that serve in a sales type capacity, and that's their only role. They generate the leads, they work with our customers on providing pricing and solutions, and then they once they get approval on that, then they hand it over to the project management team, and the project managers make sure that it gets installed and handled, so there is that true handoff process. So I think it can be done, and from our experience, some of that has been mimicked from John, because he wrote the book on it, but figuring out how to make that process work smoothly so that you can get that customer taken care of in a timely manner. So the other part of that is the other side of it is that you typically have a delay from the time the customer makes them a request to the time that you get them a price to get it installed, because you're one person handling it all. And so it breaks up that process a little bit and gives that customer somebody to communicate with very directly. Any other thoughts on that from Bill or Jason on that process? That's just kind of a question that was popped up in the chat. No thoughts on that. Cool.
I think John's spot on.
Yeah. So cool. Any other thoughts on this, and any other advice that you would give? Again, you've got your peers that are kind of watching and listening right now. Any other advice that you would give them while you're going through this process, and maybe some encouragement that you can give them?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. I guess the only advice I would have is, we're going to just keep doing things that we would normally do. We treat our employees well. We're still paying them. We're not touching any government money right now. We're trying to do this all on our own. So we don't know how much red tape's on the back end of this packaging and all these deals that are coming through. So we've been strong so far. We've been good. Like I said, we're doing a lot of community work. I think that's going to help us probably more than anything when all this is said and done. But as of right now, we're hanging in there. We're doing the best we can. We're trying to not just be a good company. We're trying to be good people in our community. We're trying to help. And I think that's really helped us tremendously.
Very cool. John?
Yeah, I would just say, certainly stay the course. You have a business plan. That business plan would, it would certainly be appropriate to look at it, to figure out if it needs what adaptations need to be made to it to fit the current climate, but stay the course, stay focused, be great at what you're good at, and and take the opportunity to really become better at what you're good at. Take advantage. There are so many different manufacturers right now who are posting links for online training for just, whether you're just brushing up on skills or whether you're learning a new product that may become a part of your core product mix. Take that opportunity right now to be a part of those education pieces. And then also, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I mean, just figure out it's kind of like moving. You figure out what you don't need. Or, it's the thing that's been in the box since the last time you moved. And it's like, why am I moving this again? And right now, with cleaning things out or just looking at business, just look at, okay, what do we have right now that we just really don't need? And maybe it's a thing, maybe it's a portion of your business, maybe, it just depends on whatever that thing is. But right now is a good time to slow down and to analyze and to view, hey, what's not necessary, and can that be set aside simply because I was busy and I didn't want to deal with that before? Can that be set aside now so that I can give better focus and better attention to this over here, and truly serve my customer, my team well, or my community well, through this, and I don't have all these other distractions, so to speak.
Good advice. Bill, do you have any closing words for everybody?
No, I'd stay focused on what you're doing and what works, and just treat your customers the best you can, and that's about it.
Very cool.
I mean, just stay with it, stay busy, and just try to help anybody that needs the help.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate everyone joining us today. I know for us it has been an awesome experience just to be able to connect with people, taking positives out of the negative. And in this situation right now, we're building a lot of community, having the opportunity to connect with people. One of the really unique opportunities that we've had is we've been hosting a daily call, very similar to this, with about anywhere between 15 and 35 people every day on a business meeting. It's a website called businessmeeting.online, and we are hosting with companies all across the country and even in Canada, talking with them about these very similar things and just kind of trying to grow together, to encourage each other to learn and take this time to be better, so that when we emerge out of this, we are better organizations, we're better leaders, better businesses. And so that's a challenge right now. So we're constantly working on trying to focus on taking the positive out of anything we can. So I appreciate everyone's input today and your time. It's great to see everybody, and we look forward to connecting with you again in the future. So have a great day.
So